Hello everyone, and welcome to my Community Needs Assessment presentation. My name is Araceli Delgadillo and I will be your presenter today. So first of all, I'd like to give you a little bit about an introduction about myself. I reside in Fresno, California, and Fresno is located right in the center of California. We're located in the Central Valley, and we are about 4 hours north of Los Angeles and about 3.5 hours south of San Francisco. So we are right in the middle of the state. Currently, I am working on my master's in applied nutrition through the University of New England, and my expected date of my degree completion is spring of 2019. I graduated from the California State University, Fresno, with a degree in food and nutritional sciences with an option in dietetics. My current position is with the University of California Cooperative Extension in Fresno County, and I am a nutrition program coordinator for one of their nutrition education programs. And we work closely with Fresno Unified, which is the local school district, and we teach nutrition to the kids in the classroom. And we also offer free nutrition classes to adults in the community through partnerships with different community agencies. And the position that I held prior to my current position was working as a degree nutritionist for United Health Centers, and they are one of the largest health centers that's located in Central California. They have many, many different locations throughout the valley. So let's go ahead and get started with the community needs assessment that I conducted. So first of all, my population of interest for the community needs assessment were Hispanic males with cardiovascular disease age 60 and older that live below the poverty line in Fresno, California. And this population is a population of interest to me because my father is a Hispanic male who has cardiovascular disease and is over the age of 60. So this is an area that I'm specifically very, very interested in. So let's talk a little bit about cardiovascular disease. So cardiovascular disease is one of the chronic health conditions that affects millions of people around the world, both men and women. And cardiovascular disease is a general term that is used to define different conditions of the heart, like blood vessel diseases such as coronary heart disease, heart rhythm problems, and heart defects. In the national sources indicate that cardiovascular disease is one of the most prevalent chronic conditions and the leading cause of death in the country. Hispanics make up about 50% of the population here in Fresno, California, and it is estimated that in the Hispanic adult population in the U.S., heart disease is the leading cause of death. Currently, it is estimated that about 33% of Hispanic males age 60 and older experience some sort of heart disease, some sort of cardiovascular disease. In the city of Fresno, 1/3 of adults, or 27%, experience some form of cardiovascular disease, whether it's coronary heart disease, heart rhythm problems, or other type of heart defects. An underlying issue that contributes to the public health burden is insufficient understanding of Hispanic heart health in general. So Hispanic men are more at risk than for developing cardiovascular disease than their Caucasian counterparts. The Fresno metropolitan area has a very high concentration of poverty, and it has been poverty has been linked with not receiving adequate care when it comes to certain chronic conditions that individuals face. So in my community needs assessment, I conducted a key informant interview with Dr. Joaquin Arambula, who is a very well-known doctor here in our area, and he was also recently appointed to the California State Assembly. And so I was very fortunate to know someone that knew him, and that was how I was able to set up that key informant interview. So through my key informant interview and through also researching different community resources in the Valley, this is what I found. So in Fresno, some of the regional health issues that are pressing health issues are access to health care, asthma, and diabetes. And there are several contributing factors in the Central Valley that are contributing to these health issues. With the lack of access to health care, we mentioned there's a very high poverty rate in Fresno, so that is contributing to not being able to access health care. In the city of Fresno, 14% of residents age 60 and older actually live below the poverty line. The Fresno metropolitan area has a very high concentration of poverty, like I mentioned before. Language is also a barrier that is contributing to not being able to access healthcare. So navigating the application process of accessing, in being able to access social services like Medi-Cal and Medicare and private health insurance. With regards to asthma, in the State of the Air in 2015, the American Lung Association in Fresno, one of the most polluted areas in the country, so that is contributing to the high rates of asthma. And with diabetes, we know that this is a very common chronic condition that is affected by our sedentary lifestyle, by our lack of proper nutrition, as well as genetics. So when I talked to Dr. Joaquin Arambula, I asked him what the primary health concerns for my target population were, and again, he said access to health insurance, lack of quality health insurance if the individual did possess health insurance, lack of knowledge of cardiovascular disease, and just not seeking regular medical care for different reasons. Again, language, the language barrier came up, as well as cultural norms and values. I did ask Dr. Arambula what he felt were the contributing factors for the primary health concerns for my target population, and again, poverty, a language barrier, lack of culturally appropriate educational programs on cardiovascular disease in Fresno, and cultural values. I was also very interested in asking Dr. Arambula what he felt were the resources in Fresno that were most valued and underutilized by my population of interest. And he stated that local health centers are a very, very valued resource by my population of interest. And this is because in that health center, there are many services that are offered for individuals. So convenience, they like the fact that they can go to one facility and get x-rays done or lab work done or pick up medication. So he feels that the local health centers are very valued among my population of interest. He also mentioned the local food bank. So many of the people who make up my population of interest, he is aware that they access the local food bank quite frequently. And one community resource that he feels is very underutilized by my population of interest are community programs that provide free health and nutrition classes. You know, they may not be classes that specifically talk about cardiovascular disease, but just health and nutrition in general. So my proposed solution and rationale. So the proposed plan of action that I am proposing to meet the unmet need of my population of interest is the implementation of a comprehensive bilingual educational program that is designed for improving heart disease awareness and the adoption of heart-healthy behaviors and services, where residents can come and receive free nutrition education classes. And I'm modeling this after a study that I read where a similar program was implemented in Davis. And so the educational program would consist of 8 bi-monthly lessons that would range from 1.5 hours to 2 hours over the course of 4 months. The participants would be given a pre- and post-survey to measure their changes, if any. And the content of the classes would be adopted from the Go Red for Women campaign, obviously tailored for the male population, and from the Department of Health and Human Services. This program can be implemented at the health centers, which are a facility that is frequented often by my population of interest, at the local food bank, and at other community agencies that are that serve my population of interest. The second recommendation is it was determined that the lack of access to health care is a big contributor to my population of interest not seeking preventative care to treat their cardiovascular disease. So perhaps there could be community resources where individuals could be trained to help with the completion of applications for Medi-Cal, Medicare, and for private health insurance for individuals, because language is a big barrier in my population of interest, and so this does not allow them to complete these applications, which hinders their ability to have health insurance. So perhaps the city of Fresno and other community agencies can hire and train individuals that can help with completing these applications. And these are my references that were used for my some of the references that were used for my community needs assessment and for this presentation. This was a very quick overview of some of the main topics of my community needs assessment. Thank you so much for your time.